First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Wang Liaoming. Homage to Master Sakya Chungkung. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa, and homage to Master Dubdan Tarji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today. Namo Akasagarbha Bodhisattva. Sumu Danchan Gatso. All Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, all disciples present here and over the internet. And our participating VIPs today are the Taipei rep to Sweden and Norway, Ambassador Tong Zhou Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Judy, Dr. Ryan Zhuang, and from Canada, Dr. Olivia and her husband, and a celebrity from Malaysia, Dharma Sister Chi Wenbing. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? I would like to let everybody know first, for next Sunday, which is January 19th, at 3 p.m., there would be Manohara Homa fire offering ceremony, which is the wealth attracting goddess. She is red. She's from Amitabha Buddha. It's one who was emanated by Amitabha Buddha. And Manohara's mudra is the Vajra hook, which we often form. And her mantra that's her mantra. This deity, Manohara, is extremely responsive. In Thailand, there is a Dharma Sister Ying who used Manohara's Vajra hook and has continually hooked for 3 years, and she always won prizes, big and small, never skipped once. And she earned more than her salary this way. And I have said it many times that Dharma Sister Ying from Thailand, every morning she would walk and face the sky and use the Vajra hook and visualize Manohara, recite her mantra, and then she would always buy the 4-number lottery. And after a period of time, I asked her again, do you still win the prizes? Still. 1 year passed and I asked her again and she said, yes, I'm still winning the lotteries. So she's really fortunate. The 4-number lottery in Southeast Asia. That was Dharma Sister Ying from Thailand. And when I observe her face of the Dharma Sister Ying, her mouth is all the way to the ears. Huge. Some ladies have small mouth. But this Dharma Sister Ying, when she laughs, wow, so huge. No wonder she eats up all the fortunes. No wonder she's always winning the lottery. And her characteristic is her huge mouth. There's this song about one big mouth. But it is really quite marvelous how she won the prizes. That's due to Manohara. If you don't like money, because you don't like money, then what need do you have to pray to Manohara? Then you don't have to be primary supplicants. But if you like money, then you should be the primary supplicants. I don't force you, but if you don't like it, then there's no need to become primary supplicants. It's best that nobody wants to become primary supplicants next week, next Sunday, not even one. Okay, let's set a record. Not even one primary supplicant. That symbolizes that you're so clean. This is the Dharma Sister Ying. She used a Manohara, Vasudhara, to hook to the sky. And then she would buy the 4-number lottery and continually win the prizes for years. I haven't seen her now, so I don't know if she's still winning. So her characteristic is really with huge mouth. So that's her photo. She's often in contact with Hui Jun. But Hui Jun's mouth is not that big. So as I said, if you don't need it, no need to become primary supplicants. Let's set a record that next Sunday there's no primary supplicants at all. As a human being, we want to be heroic too. Today we perform Akasagarbha Bodhisattva Homa, and the meaning of this deity, Akasagarbha, which means his wisdom is like the sky, the cosmic space. And I've said that his Pure Land is in the stars. The stars. And in the sky, the most is the stars, which is his Pure Land. So when Kobudaishi practiced this deity, he saw a star like a comet descended and entered into his mouth. By practicing this deity, you need to choose a special date. At the end, generally, you always practice, but at the end, when you ask for the wisdom, is when you have the sun eclipse and the moon eclipse. That would be the most precious. I have taught you to use a glass of water and place it under the sky. And then you practice during the eclipse, and then you pray to the Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, the light of the precious sword and of the treasures, to enter into the glass of water during the sun or the moon eclipse. And you visualize the lights to enter into the glass of water that you offered. And then you drink that glass of water. Then you would be able to increase your own wisdom. And his Pure Land is called the Pure Land of collected fragrances. So during the sun and the moon eclipse, you practice the Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, and then you collected all the light of Akasagarbha from his precious sword and from the treasures that he held to enter into the glass of water. And then you drink that glass of water. It would increase your memory. Then you will never forget. And that's the Dhamma practice for memory. Lunar eclipse and solar eclipse, yes. On the lunar and solar eclipse. Yeah, please give microphone. Very grateful to His Holiness for transmitting the Akasagarbha Dharma transmission and empowerment. And that night I returned to my temple and the True Buddha building, and it was all stars inside that. And because of that inspiration, I started the registrations for the stars, like donation to the True Buddha News Weekly. So that's why we got a huge fund from that donators. So he not only bestowed wisdom but also money that he bestowed to True Buddha News Weekly. So related to Akasagarbha Bodhisattva, his wisdom is like the sky. His treasury and the good fortune that he bestows upon sentient beings is also like the sky. So it's not only about wisdom. His mudra is like this. So the tips of the index fingers touching each other. And the rest are in the inner clasps These index fingers are forming like a treasure. This is like a treasury and treasures. So the so-called Akasagarbha is the one whose wisdom is like the sky, and his treasures, stores of treasures is also like sky. So you would be endowed with perfect wisdom and good fortunes. And about the word storage, store or treasury, which is the same Chinese character, zhang or chang, is the same, like the thunder store. Like just now, during the ritual invitation for Ishi-Yoga, they use the sounds of thunders. And the store of thunders, Lei Zhang Temple, the name of the temple, was given to me by Golden Mother long ago, starting in Taiwan. So therefore, all true Buddha school temples are called Lei Zhang temples, which is the temples of the store of thunders. So what does it mean, the sound of thunder? The thunder. So the thunder trembles under the sky. So true Buddha school is like the thunder. What sound is the loudest on earth is the sound of thunder. So the thunder trembles under the sky, all the four continents. And what is the store? In the past, we say that I explained it is that the store of self to show the true suchness. So to store my true Buddha. The thunder trembles under the sky, and to store my true Buddha. To sound on the four oceans, so four continents and four oceans. So why our true Buddha's temples are called the Lei Zhang temples? And we heard the sound of thunders earlier too. And it's also related to what we talked about in Lamdre. It is the store of consciousness, or the stored inside. The Buddha nature is stored inside us. So Sakyamuni Buddha said, oh, it turns out to be like this, that every sentient being has Buddha nature. No exception. And because of the sixth rebirth cycle, you're being contaminated. You're being adulterated. That's why you're always in the cycle of the sixth rebirth. And you never show or appear your own Buddha nature. You don't seek it outside or inside, because it's already there. You don't have to find it. You don't need to practice to have it. You already have it. I said it last night. But this Buddha nature is being enshrouded by the dust of contaminants. And because of that, you're always in the cycle of reincarnations. But the Buddha nature does not. Therefore, it is the pure Buddhi body. principally, when your karma is completely eradicated, there's no need to seek or to pray to the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas. Your own Buddha nature would appear. You were intrinsically a Buddha. When Sakyamuni Buddha gained enlightenment, he spoke that, it turned out that each sentient being has Buddha nature. That's what he meant. That's what he meant. So I was talking about Lei Zhang, or the store of thunders. So it hides or it stores the true suchness of the Tathagata inside your body. So when you practice the body mandala, you should be clear about that. The so-called bodhisattva on the 10th ground, what is it about? The bodhisattva can go to the 13th ground. When you reach the 11th ground, that's a Buddhahood. Vairocana Buddha is on the 13th ground. Adharma Buddha is at the 16th ground, the primordial Buddha. Why is there the 13th ground? In Tantrayana we say that on your channels there are 13 knots. Of course, not just 13. But when you open 3 knots, you reach 1 ground. So by the most crucial knots in our channels are over 30. And then if you open all these knots, by opening 3 knots, you climb 1 ground. This is written in Lamdre. When you practice the completion path, when your chi, inner fire, and light drops open a knot, when you open 3 knots, then you enter into the first ground. And when you open another 3 knots, you reach the second ground. And you open another 3 knots again, and you reach the third ground. And then all the way, when you reach the 11th ground, you have attained Buddhahood. It's written in Lamdre. So when you attain Buddhahood, does the Buddha come from outside? No. It's something that you appear, that you generate, that you show. The light radiance, the clear light radiance that you yourself show. So therefore, you cannot forsake yourself, because inside our body, there is the intrinsic, the primordial Buddha nature in it. So when you are reincarnated, the Buddha nature is not being reincarnated, it's still pure. But the soul is polluted and contaminated. So the impure soul is being reincarnated and recycled back and forth and never get liberated. But one day, when all your karma is cleared, then you gain liberation. And this liberation is not being done by other people. It's something that you rely on your own spiritual cultivation to clear your karma, to show your Buddha nature. And that is the pure body. That's what it meant. And talking about stars, there's this joke about stars. When we go shopping with the girlfriend always stand in front of a designer brand shop. But I continue walking. And then she would ask me, why are you like the comet, walking so fast? And the man said, the comet scoots very fast because the comet does not want to know about your wish. Kobudaishi's Yidam is Mahavairokana. All you know. Akasagar Kobudaishi's Yidam is Vairokana. But Kobudaishi also practiced Akasagarba. I had visited Xi'an or Chang'an, the Green Dragon Temple there. And inside the temple, they kept a room. And when they opened the room, that was the room where the senior elder venerable Hui Guo met Kobudaishi. And they also built a tall building there. Is to gaze at the ocean, because Kobudaishi loved to climb up that building to look at the ocean, to gaze toward Japan. So I don't know if it was built at a later date, because Japanese love to go to Xi'an because they knew about Kobudaishi and they visited that Green Dragon Temple, which is at the suburb of Xi'an City in China. And Kobudaishi, under the blessing of the Hui Guo Venerable, received the lineage of the Chinese Tantrayana, and he returned to Japan and built the Japanese Tantrayana, which is the Shingon religion. And in order to attain wisdom, he did practice the Dharma practice of Akasagarbha, of listening and contemplating. And until the stars entered into his mouth, to enter into his body, and his memory became really excellent. So if you want to gain wisdom, memory, or good fortune, you can practice this deity Akasagarbha. In the past, before New Year, the boss would tell everybody, let money rolling in. It's a good wishes for the New Year. So you say nice things. But bosses nowadays would also say the same words in Chinese. It's laying off people. So get out of here. So this is what happened in the New Year now. Whether it's a good economic time or not, you don't want to be laid off. I don't know which deity you should practice. But in some, True Buddha School has a very incredible deity protecting us. That's Marichi. Marichi Sutra and Marichi Mantra. If you often chant either Marichi Sutra or mantra, your boss would treat you differently. He would say, let money rolling in instead of you're laid off, get out of here. Why Marici Sutra is protecting you? Nobody can bully you. That's the Marici Sutra. Nobody can mistreat you if you often chant this sutra and mantra. And both the human beings or the formless spirits and beings. After class, Xiaoming and Xiaobao were arguing. Xiaoming said, "You're a pig." And Xiaobao shouted back, "You are the pig." And the teacher cannot let it go on because both of you are pigs, so you should get along well. I have said it, it's very important to protect yourself. Now let's continue to expound on Lamdre. All the start of affinities that arises to the completion path. So everything is the start of affinity. That Grandmaster can walk the Taoist and then the Buddhist path and then the Tantric path. That's all start of affinity. I was a Protestant up until high school, and I was even a Sunday school teacher and a Bible study teacher. Because at that time, the Protestants pay more attention to the New Testament. Mark, Matthew, Lucas, John, Corinthians. And how come? Eventually, I believe in Buddhism. Of course, that's because of the affinity. I was called by name by Golden Mother. Nobody knew my Japanese name, but Golden Mother called my Japanese name Katsu. So the Chiyo-san, who was a medium, kept calling out, who has the name Katsu? Nobody answered, so I did. I stood up because my name is Katsu. And she asked me to come to the altar and said, but I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. And what should I do? Kneel down. Why? I'm a Christian. Well, just kneel down. You will know. Once I kneel down, it's amazing. I started to feel some spiritual experiences. Golden Mother appeared, Amitabha Buddha appeared, Siddhigarbha Bodhisattva appeared, the Jade Emperor appeared, which is Indra, appeared and spoke. They asked me to propagate Buddha Dharma. And I said, what's going on? How could it be? Truly, that's what happened then. Asked me to spread Buddha Dharma. What? Oh no. And then when I got home that night, they brought me to take a look and to go through the 6 rebirth realms to see my previous lives. So that's the start of affinity. So this all the start of affinity, there arises the completion path. And because I had that start of affinity, now I'm here propagating Buddha Dharma. This was all truthful. Mark, Matthew, Lucas, John, Corinthians 1 and Corinthians 2, Thessalonica, and some I forgot. Me too. And then lastly, Judas, Jesus, and Lucas. Those are the books of the Bible. That's how I memorize the books in the New Testaments. And I'm sorry to Jesus Christ, because I was baptized as a Protestant by Su Tianming, the minister who gave me a baptize. And he's from the Presbyterian Church. So I was a baptized Protestant. And now I took refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So that's all due to the affinity. But Jesus also appeared in front of me, in front of my bed, a huge white light, and he spoke to me. Just walk your own path. And that path is also bright and radiant. Then I have ease of mind. Otherwise, I felt unease because I was baptized. And then later on, I joined Taoism and Buddhism. That wasn't quite right. So what happens with my baptism? But Jesus appeared and told me, just walk your own path and your future would be bright. So the verse said, based on the 5 start of affinity, is the completion path. So we use these 5 starts of affinity to explain the completion path. The first one is the outer start of affinity. It's the phenomena of the circulation of qi and its scenes, dreams, and other crude items externally. When you practice the qi, when you move and circulate the qi, and there's some scenes, sensations, and phenomena appearing. Dreams, like the realms of the dreams, are considered external, and they're also considered the crude spiritual experiences. Second, the inner start of affinity is the gathering of the mind qi at the palace of the channel seeds. So the qi has entered into your channels. That's considered the inner start of affinity, and you would feel some spiritual experiences. So by practicing the treasure-based energy yoga is to make the qi to enter into the central channel. Once the qi enters the central channel, then you would feel some spiritual experiences. That's called the inner start of affinity. Third is the secret start of affinity. It's only by cutting off the worldly path up to the appearance of the out of worldly path, such as the body channel mandala and the 4 mandalas, etc. So what is the secret start of affinity? What is the worldly path? What is the path of merit accumulation? That's the worldly path. Of course, you still have to practice the worldly path. You cannot cut it off completely. You have to perform merits and do Dharma practice at the same time. So in the Saha world, you have to perform charities and to perform your tantric practices. And when the worldly path decreases and the out of worldly path increases, like in your mindset, how you live, how you handle everything worldly, that's considered the worldly path. And if you have more out of the worldly thoughts, you want to gain enlightenment and leave behind the mundane world, that's on the outer worldly path, which is like the body channel mandala or the four mandalas, etc. Let me tell you, in the Ishichuga instructions, she once said, Guru Padmasambhava started Ishichuga's channels and chakras so that she sees the mandalas. It's not the outer mandalas that's being set up, not the worldly mandalas, but the inner mandalas. When your chi is flowing smoothly in the channels, when you open the navel chakra, then you would be able to see Ratnasambhava Buddha's mandala. When the chi opens the secret chakra, the generative chakra, then you would see the Amoghasiddhi Buddha's mandala there. When you open the heart chakra, you would be able to see the Akshobha Buddha's mandala there. When you open the throat chakra, you would see Amitabha Buddha's mandala there. When you open the brow chakra, you see Vairocana Buddha's mandala there. So the Guru blessed Ishichogar, so Ishichogar could see her own mandala inside her body. This kind of spiritual experiences is called the four mandalas of the out-of-worldly path and the other body channel mandalas. The fourth is suchness start of affinity, is at above the initial ground, light drops seen from the outer inspection, chi seen from the inner inspection, merits seen from the suchness inspection. Once you have the suchness, that's the start of affinity of Buddhahood. So this is anything above the initial ground. So once you open the three knots, the first three knots, then you're a bodhisattva at the initial ground, which is the joyous bodhisattva, which is the generation of the light drops or the appearance of the light drops. Then you would know where the chi is, where it moves, and merits seen from the suchness inspection. Then in your inner mind, the inner merits would appear. The fifth is the ultimate start of affinity, the 13 grounds assimilated into the four cultivations. So if you have opened the last knot and you have reached the 13th ground, the realm of Vairocana Buddha, at that point, it is called the ultimate start of affinity, and this is considered fruition. The fruition that you attain is the 13th ground, assimilated into the four cultivations. This way, all on the path away from the worldly path, by relying on the 5 starts of affinity, is called the completion path, based on the 5 starts of affinity. Also, this outer start of affinity accumulating at the environment is extremely deep. The secret start of affinity accumulating at the mind is called the gathering. The true suchness start of affinity accumulation is 3 kinds, and each of them real, and the ultimate start of affinity accumulating at the fruit that appears. These are the completion path through the 5 starts of affinity. So now you understand about the outer, inner, secret, suchness, and ultimate starts of affinity. So which realm you have reached, it's been described very clearly here. So for the outer is that the phenomena of the qi, and you can see it in your dreams. That's the first one. And for the inner affinity is the gathering of the mind qi at the channel seat palace. At this time, the qi has entered into the channels. And the secret start of affinity is you have cut off the worldly path, and you have attained your own body channel mandala and the 4 mandalas of the outer worldly path. You know yourself. And the suchness start of affinity is above the initial ground. Light drops, qi, and merits. And then, lastly, the ultimate start of affinity, that you would have reached the 13 grounds. Is this too profound? Is this too deep? The Chinese New Year is around the corner. The Chinese New Year is around the corner. How do we celebrate it? This is what it said. Between 18 to 20, you go see the fireworks. But the Gregorian New Year's past. This is about Taiwan. You go to 101 tower to watch the fireworks. From 2024 to see the sunrise, the first sunrise of 2020. From 2030 to go to the concert. And 30-35, you play mahjong till dawn. 35 to 40, you just watch TV at home. And above 40, sleep. That's for the New Year. In the past, we were so happy celebrating New Year. Kids would wear new clothes. The new clothes to be worn on New Year's Day. New clothes, new hat, everything. It's placed near the bed, and keep checking out whether the daybreak is there. Is it raining? Then we would wear all of our new clothes and we would walk around the village. But now, We have no such mood anymore. Such a huge difference. No more. Someone asked the master, uh, can I help you? And this person said, please give us guidance. And the master said, your forehead is dark, your spirit is suspicious, and the bad luck's following you. And then he said, I have a really bad luck. When I left home, I was stuck at the door. When I tried to get on the bus, I was being pinched by the door. And when I walked down the steps broke down. And when I got uh, on the cable car, the cable broke, and the master checked and did a divination and said, there's no need to go into panic. All you have to do is to lose weight. Too heavy. Hui Jin, this time when you pass through custom, were you called into the little room? So Hui Jin was called into the little room of the immigration. So you got caught up for over an hour and she couldn't leave. Do you know who pulled you out? Lian Qi. Please stood up. The custom asked him, where do you live? And she actually said my tantric quarter address, 17012 Northeast 40th Court, Redmond, Washington 98052. So why did you report it my house address? Because you read my books a lot, so you remember this address. But luckily, Lian Qi was at the tantric quarter and received the phone call, and his English is good. And then she told them, let her come in to enter into America. She has her own spiritual center. So after coming here, they would go back to their own spiritual center to earn more money. But that earning money part is what I said. There's no need to stop her. Just let all the monks and nuns, they just want to join ceremonies. They will not stay here for a long time. All they do here is spending money. They earn money at their home. So he saved you. So otherwise you would have been stuck by the doors of the immigration. So it looked like you were still fat. You gain more weight than last time, right? See? What the master said is definitely right. You please sit down. And then she said, Grandmaster's happy clown is here. Oh, happy fruit. Someone that makes Grandmaster happy. And she, do you remember what you told immigration? Good thing that Lianqi's English is very good. So he could communicate to the immigration officer for a long time. And eventually she got out. Because the custom knew that you are heavyweight. Then she came to America when he was young. And when he studied, he was in elementary school, high schools, and college here in America. So he's American. This attendant is very excellent. Where's your master degree? Or in Kaohsiung's Teachers College. And America is at the UC California. Let me share one more joke. Xiaoming told Dad, Xiaohua's dad swims really well. How come you don't know how to swim? And then his dad replied, because Xiaohua's dad loves to eat fish. That's why he knows how to swim. But I don't eat fish, so of course I don't know how to swim. But Dad, you always eat chicken, but you never give eggs. This is not logical. So the starts of affinity that rise to the completion path is logical. Everything is logical. There's a student every year is always last in class and always got involved in fightings. But the parents asked the teacher to write better recommendations. And what should he do? So he said that his score is always stable. And his hand movement is very strong. If we have to review Huijin Master, I would say Master Huijin is round and complete. However, she doesn't roll very fast. She always asks someone else to replace her. Actually, sometimes you use kind of words to praise someone. Christian has round face, round body, and most importantly, round butts. 3 rounds. Upper round, middle round, lower round. So that symbolizes round and complete. So during the new year, by seeing her, its harmony would give rise to money. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.